Hey, so here I am with the tree again. But anyways, getting back into the August 2016 broadcasting around minute 23. Hope I wrote that down wrong. You know, they're interviewing this couple, the Melanfonts, and she tells a story about her mother that lost a child, and they were so angry and disillusioned because the clergy told them that the daughter died because God wanted another angel in heaven. I've heard them say that so many times. I don't know any clergy that say that. I never heard it in any church. I never heard it from any Christian. It's not a doctrine in any of the Protestant confessions that I've read. I've read a lot of them. Um, the clergy told them that. Well, I don't know where they get this stuff. It's like just because some people that aren't really informed tell them certain things about Christian doctrines, they say Christians say this, the clergy says that. They always do that, and it's just so disingenuous, really. Then around minute 32, this couple, the Melanfonts, tell this about when they were missionaries and in difficult places, but they got a lot of encouragement from another couple, um, Charles Sinutko and his wife. Now, I thought this was really interesting that they would want anybody to mention him. When you look him up in the online library, all you can find is a couple of stories about how he um, gave up an amazing future with a singing career and such to serve Jehovah in Jehovah's organization. But I mean, really, if anybody hears this broadcast and they want to look up Charles Sinutko on Google or YouTube, they might find his famous talk, Stay Alive to 75. It always amazes me when they bring up certain talks or books or people that they really wouldn't want anybody to look into more deeply. And I just thought that was funny that they mentioned him because certainly in the former Jehovah's Witness community and among people that research the organization, that is a very famous talk. Definitely look it up if you haven't seen it. His talk you can find it by Googling Stay Alive to 75. Um, let's see. Then on to the October 2016 broadcasting. There was a funny thing about beards around minute 30. Stephen Lett was talking about that we can have certain rights, in personal things, personal decisions or behaviors or habits or whatever, but we need to give up our rights if they might stumble someone. So when he listed the type of rights that we might want to give up because they could stumble people, that would be heavy makeup, beards, and alcohol. But was beards at that time in 2016, was it really a right that Jehovah's Witnesses would give up, or was it just a rule that they had to follow? I mean, that's not the same thing. And alcohol, I mean, it's interesting that he mentions that as a right maybe people should give up because from what is said by researchers and former members is that alcohol is actually really a big problem among them. And of course, then there was the Toni Morris scandal with him buying alcohol. So that's just kind of bizarre. November 2016 broadcast around minute 4. Again, you hear this really bizarre definition of lying. Lying is saying something incorrect to a person who is entitled to know the truth about a matter. I mean, they can do so much with that, right? Who are the people who aren't entitled to know? That remains kind of an open question, and we know they do seem to use that theocratic warfare lying strategy, similar to Islam, actually, has that also. Um, right after that, minute 5, he talks about partial truths, and that is when information is withheld um, so as to mislead. Now, when it comes to Watchtower history, and they refer to certain periods of time or certain books or talks, they mislead many times by leaving out bits of information. I mean, I think about that talk which I've heard, I think, at least twice, where they talk about 1914, um, and they make a statement like, the Bible students at that time were the only ones on the planet who saw the sign Jesus gave and understood it correctly. All you have to do is just read what they were saying before 1914 and even during to see that they did not recognize the sign and understand it correctly. They didn't understand it in the way that the Watchtower teaches now, right? I mean, it's just a prime example of withholding information, right? Um, then also, I found it very interesting in minute 6, where he talks about idolatry, as he was talking about false religion, idolatry as worshiping idols, and then he quotes from Romans 1 and talks about worshiping created things rather than the creator. There's that creation creator distinction for worship, but perhaps he's withholding information, as he was talking about before, that the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society taught to worship Jesus. It was proper to worship Jesus for about 70 years. So if that's idolatry, they were worshiping Jesus, who they also simultaneously taught was created. So that's interesting in and of itself. So that's the latest on my notes. Talk to you later.